Never sure. Boom! But there we are, right back on track. Nomad X community, Facebook fam, everyone out there. We are back with another guest, another live stream. Wednesday night, if I got it right, I'm always gonna get a little bit confused about what day it is. Wednesday night at Bali, and Wednesday, very early morning in Jonathan's world. Jonathan Kalan, a pure legend. And just to say, it was a bit tricky to get you on a live stream because you are such a busy man. Now you are in Montana, and finally we made it. I could tell 100 stories about you and your success because you're a speaker, you do Unsettled, you do like so many different projects. But you know what? Just to keep it simple, Jonathan, first of all, welcome to the show. It's great to have you in here. Can you give us a short introduction about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing?
Yeah, awesome. Ollie, great to be here, and thanks for having me. Where to even start? I don't know. I've been a journalist. I've been an entrepreneur. I've worked in tech. I've worked in media. Currently, I am co-founder of Unsettled, which is a global travel company for independents, creatives, and entrepreneurs who are just taking the unconventional path in life. You know, we organize co-working retreats, sailing trips, and adventure trips all around the world. Obviously, right now that is on a bit of a pause, but we still have an incredible community of about 2,500 people from 80 countries who come together to really embrace the unknown, find meaningful human connection, and live their lives as one great experiment. So that's what keeps me busy. Outside of that, you can usually find me outside.
Awesome, bro. You are a true legend. I mean, like everything you did out there over the last few years. For everyone who's not sure, Nomad X community, who Jonathan Callan actually is, we're gonna drop the links to all his social media accounts and everything what goes along with later on in the comments. But you're kind of like you're a pioneer, like, and you've been in that scene for such a long time. And we just chatted a little bit before we started that live stream. Just to start with, what does Corona mean to you? How did it affect your business?
Yeah, it's interesting because one of the greatest compliments I've ever received, it was during the TED residency, and somebody said, Jonathan, you are a student of the unknown. And I took that as a compliment. It just means my entire life I have thrived in uncertainty. All the businesses that I've started have been very much driven by pioneering something very different, very uncertain futures. And I love that space. I love that space in between, uncertainty and possibility and what's known and what's unknown. And Corona has definitely been, I think, the biggest unknown thrown my way and thrown our way as a company. So, I think like everybody else, it threw all of our plans off. We had plans for, 40, 50 more retreats this year after March. And we had to put everything on hold. It was kind of a crazy scramble in the beginning. We had team members in Bali, in Medellin, in Spain, in Sri Lanka. I think I was in Sri Lanka at the time that the COVID really started to pick up. And first and foremost, our priority has always been take care of our community, take care of our team, and make sure that the company can get through this. And so that's been really the approach that we've taken. And so we made sure to get everybody home. We made sure to get our team home. We made sure to get our communities home from around the world, and then honestly took a step back and said, what do we do now? We're all about asking that question of what next, right? Unsettled is very much rooted in that question of what next. And so we kind of turned inwards and said, what next for us? Whether this is a 3-month thing or a 3-year thing, what does Unsettled mean in the world? What can we do in the world if we cannot travel? And so it's been a lot of interesting experimentation and working with the community and doing some online programs that we had already had running. But it's been a whirlwind. Like anybody in the travel space knows, it's definitely been impossible to predict, and you do the best you can day by day.
Right. Let me touch base on a little bit on a personal level. because as everyone knows who's watching that, and even guys, if you're watching the recordings afterwards, feel free to drop in all your questions, all your comments. We're super happy to answer all of them, because I know there's going to be a lot of people watching it. I have a personal question for you, because I've been lately, I've been asked a lot about the questions, like, oh, fuck, you are, like, business is not going well, like, because we were like setting up so many stuff, and then it's like, oh, everything is going not good. And then we lose a lot of money and all that shit. So I was always like, I'm cool, like I'm pretty cool with all that stuff. I don't care. But what really makes me sad, and that's a personal question I want to ask you, is that whole lifestyle, and you might know best with Unsettled and everything, that whole lifestyle I've been personally providing and making up over the last few years, like traveling the world, working remotely, running businesses from all around the world. It's just gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone, and it's not coming back, right?
Yeah. It's definitely been an adjustment, to say the least. And I think I saw, so this adds, I think, an element to it that's important, for me at least, is you're recently engaged. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not that recently, but yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I mean, considering it's hard to get married now, but I recently got engaged about a little under a year ago. And so for me personally, it's been interesting in that, my life was already taking this transition to not being more settled, but to having a partner, to then being grounded in places for longer periods of time, right? Mm-hmm. Up until this point, I'd say I hadn't spent more than a month in a place in, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. Like, it's been quite a while and a lot of movement. And so, I think actually it was an adjustment at first, but it was really nice to have a partner who we could sort of base ourselves in certain places for certain periods of time and enjoy that time, enjoy being still, enjoy not moving, almost by force. And so while part of it was challenging, I think, to adjust to the fact of like, where am I going to get this intellectual diversity, this stimulation, this sort of that openness that you get from traveling and discovering new places and meeting new people, like, where am I going to find that energy from? And I'd say the first, couple months, like, it was draining. It's like same apartment, same, go downstairs, come back upstairs. Like, what am I doing? I couldn't even go out and surf for the first 2 months, and I live in Puerto Rico. I was going nuts. And so, I think personally it was a struggle. It was a struggle to think about, where do I go? What can I do? How do I live this lifestyle? What's this going to be like for the company over the short term, over the long term? I think I know that no matter what comes out of it, like, we will travel again at some point. This sort of lifestyle will resume. I think we'll take less for granted, and I think we'll appreciate more, and I think perhaps be more intentional about where we go, about why we go. But yeah, it's definitely a difficult transition. But now I think, we're starting to recognize the reality and say, great, well, I'm up here in Montana. I'd never been to Montana. I live in a town right now that's population of 925 people. Wow. And so, like, there's nothing, but we're having a great time. We're enjoying that open space and enjoying that new environment and exploring a place that we never would have, I think, been to had it not been for, us not being able to travel internationally. So making the most of it, to be honest, and using that as a way to explore new places and try new things.
I think you're totally right, and I think it's definitely the way to go. I had I think it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was on a beach walk with Lisa, my fiance, and because you touched base on the engagement, and I was like, okay, she wants to do that wedding. Like she's like all about, I want to do that wedding now, because you asked me quite a while ago, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna do that beautiful wedding on Bali, and I promise you, and I was.
But you can't plan. You can't plan. You can't predict, and we're in the same boat. So.
And I was like, babe, really? Do you want to book a wedding location right now for like in 6, 7, 8 months?
No.
No one will even confirm, like there is nothing we can do about it. It's like I can actually take that fucking money and put it right now down on the beach and hope it's still be there in a year, like it's not, because it's so unpredictable. And that's just like, that's the worst about it.
Which is interesting, because I think, when you think about how we've lived our lives and living a more nomadic and independent lifestyle, we've always had that sense of unknown, right? It's always been, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know where we might be tomorrow, what opportunity might come tomorrow, and living that life full of possibility. And, everybody is sort of learning to embrace that mindset of the unexpected right now. It's like a muscle that I think we have exercised over a certain period of time. I think most people now are being forced to exercise that muscle of uncertainty in a really uncomfortable way and in a really, unfortunate way. But at the same time, I think it's opening something up that not everything is predictable. Not everything has to be routine. Not everything that you thought had to be fixed is fixed. Most people thought that they couldn't work remotely. All of a sudden, oh shit, everybody works remotely, and it's not that bad. So I think it's, there's a negative element of uncertainty, and there is some positive element of uncertainty of recognizing that, anything is possible. Not everything is fixed. And, so it's, it's hard to plan. But, at least you kind of figure out how do you make little steps along the way to move a little bit closer to where you want to be, and know that, plans will happen. Planning will resume, maybe just not tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree, bro. I totally agree. So just know, by the side, NomadX community, if you're listening to that, if you're watching that interview, leave some comments, leave us a heart, leave us a like button, because we want to know where you are, what you do, and that you are watching actually this stream right now. But yeah, bro, I think you're totally right, because it feels like we were always like walking around all around the world, and we were screaming at everyone's face, let's make life unpredictable. Let's make life, and now it became, even for us, it was like, oh my gosh, now it is. It's like, oh my God, what we're gonna do next? In your case, I know you were very, very successful with companies and the way you live your life. What is your plan? What is Jonathan planning next?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say the plan is half baked. It's still in the oven, and I think for a couple of reasons. We don't know what exactly travel is going to look like in 6 months and in 12 months, and so we're planning for futures of Unsettled that have travel in the short term. We're planning for futures of Unsettled that have travel in the long term. We're planning for different futures of Unsettled where we have a lot more variation in what we do and how we connect our communities. So I think a lot of time for me is invested in the longevity of Unsettled as a company, and myself on my kind of personal side saying, okay, let me figure this out first, and then I'll be just fine. We're going to be, I think, road tripping pretty much. We've got our car with our camping gear, living out of that for a couple more weeks, and then back to Puerto Rico, and then just kind of take it day by day. Honestly, we're not trying to make too grand plans in life or in work. We're just trying to figure out, what do we need, as individuals right now? What does our community need right now? And how do we best serve that? Because those needs are evolving, We really are, as a company, built around meaningful human connection. And that is something that's needed more than ever right now. And so we're designing products and experiences virtually that keep that community connected and grow that community. And then as soon as travel is safe, we're back on the road, Bali, Tuscany, Buenos Aires, Nicaragua, all over. But we can't really, we're not going to like the wedding, we're not going to pin a date down, because you throw money in, and we've seen companies do that. You've seen companies try to take that risk and say, oh, we think we can run a trip here. And then 3 months later, they just have to pull the plug and disappoint a lot of people. And we don't want to set false expectations. We want to be realistic. And when we come back in terms of travel, we want to be really, I think, ready. And so, yeah. So I think the theme is day by day. That's how we're planning. That's what's next.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. And like, for us, it's pretty much exactly the same. We're doing it like day by day. I remember when Corona started, we were like, we were like making a 3 months plan because it was like, okay, that shit's gonna take 3 months. And then we were like doing like a 6 months plan. We're like, oh, it's gonna take 6 months. And then we take a 1 year plan because it's gonna take 12 months. But now we're like on a point where like, we don't know. We don't know. But in my opinion, and that's another topic I want to touch base on, because I feel like for you and also for me, this might be a little bit easier than for a lot of people out there, and also a lot of people we have in the community, because these people, they were just like about to start their journey, right? They were like very at the very beginning. And look, you've been in that scene for many years, myself as well. And we have a lot of people in the community, they were just like to start, and they building their businesses, they going on that journey, they are finally took that force, and they were like, oh, I'm gonna be locally independent. And now that whole shit happens. What would be your main advice to people out there who are at the beginning?
Yeah, it's a great point. We've seen it a lot too. I mean, we've had people who joined us and who like just started a sabbatical or just left their job to start planning. And honestly, it's a time to really dig deep and design for intentionality, right? I think design is the key word right now. Is you can take a leap and you can get momentum as you're going. And that's, I think, relatively not easy, but possible when you're moving and making connections and meeting people. But when you take that element of serendipity out of your life, right, and the connections that I think end up resulting in what generally generates a lot of work or opportunities, when you take that out, it's really a time to step back, to reflect, and to be intentional about how and why you're designing for this lifestyle. So, where do you want to really go? What are your baseline needs? What are the things that you're going to be forced to change or adapt or innovate given the situation? I think we all have to innovate, whether you're starting off and starting off being location independent or a freelancer or running your own business, or you've got a business that's 5 years old like ours. We're in the same boat of having to radically change and innovate what we do and how we do it to fit this new reality. So I think if you're in the earlier stages, I think you've got an interesting opportunity to pretty quickly adapt to understand what can you do differently to fit this new environment. And how do you do that in a way that really serves your goals, right? We all have different goals for living the life that we live. For some it's financial independence, for some it's location independence, for some it's just the ability to travel, for some it's very purpose driven. How can you root down in what those intentions are and just take more time to design for that and build for that, so that when things do open up, you're able to live that life, I think, in a more meaningful and rich way.
Awesome. I think it's a perfect advice, and it's pretty much exactly what I'm telling everyone is like, it's not over. It's just the time to do things differently and take your time, because we're definitely all on the right journey. And on the other side, what I'm always like to tell is like, like I've been preaching and teaching everyone go online for years and years and years. And Corona just accelerated that by decades, obviously, because now everyone goes online. Let's talk a little bit towards the end, because time is flying by as always, and we try to keep it down as quick as possible in the attention rate. But unsettled. Where is it coming from? Where are you going with? And who is it for?
Yeah, I mean, Unsettled is honestly for anybody who is at a point in their life where they're looking for more growth, they're looking for more meaningful connections, they're looking for more opportunities to experiment in their life, and looking for a global community to really challenge them and accelerate those ideas and those experiments in their life. And so, where we've come, we've run 100 trips, 100, almost more than most of those being month-long trips in over 20 countries where we're going, hopefully many more. We do have something that we've launched in the past couple of months called the Global Passport, which is basically, to simplify it, is an online experience that is driven around growth and connections and support for the work that you do as an independent. So again, talking about serendipity, those places to meet random people from all over the world who share similar passions or interests, or find support or ideas or inspiration on projects that you're working on. We run it monthly with dozens of events every month that connect people. We have guest speakers. That's been keeping us really busy and keeping our community really engaged. So that's where we're headed for the foreseeable future, is to keep running that experience and keep experimenting with new ways to, help people, I think, process and move forward. That's really what we're about. Unsettled is about being unstuck and about living a free and independent lifestyle. So however we can do that, whether in person or virtual, we're gonna try our hardest and keep experimenting to make that possible.
Awesome. I love it. We're going to make sure I drop the link to your website, obviously, afterwards down here in the comments. I'm going to do that afterwards because I'm so bad at multitasking. And we're going to make sure that everyone can find you. Nomad X community, I can see here on the stream, we got a really decent amount of people who are dropping into that live stream. As I said before, if you have questions, if you want to know more, now is the time to ask, or even do it afterwards. We're going to make sure everything is getting answered. Jonathan, in our case, time is flying by. As I said before, we're going to keep it down to 20 minutes. Unsettled is definitely an awesome project. As I said before, we drop it here down in the comments. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for all the inspiration. What is your plan? Where are you going next? Are you going to stay in Montana, or?
I think right now we're supposed to head west to Seattle, California, Portland, but there are some raging wildfires right now, so we might just put that on hold. So we don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. We leave this place in 2 days and we don't know where we're going, but we have a car with everything we need to survive for probably a couple more weeks. So we'll see what happens. Eventually we'll make our way back to Puerto Rico and I'll hit some surf and take it from there. That's it.
Awesome. Hopefully we can welcome you very soon in Bali, which would be also very nice. Everything is a little bit postponed at the moment. We don't know, but I think it definitely fits exactly what was the topic of today, which is how to navigate a company through COVID, and you kind of like are living proof that it is possible. And for everyone out there, guys, this is the way how you do it. This is the mindset you want to have. Jonathan, in this case, thank you very much for being here today. It was an honor, and I'm just like super stoked. I'm super stoked to call you one of my inner circle contacts, and even more than following you and seeing what you're coming up next with, because I still believe the future is bright. We just have to hang in there.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. And this is awesome. And yeah, hopefully we can hang out in Bali someday very soon. Looking forward to it.
Let's do it. Let's do some coconuts, and even let's do some bintang beers or whatever. That's what we do here. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to welcome you in real life. And again, thank you very much for taking the time to be on the show. As I said at the very beginning, it took a while to get you on it because I know how busy you are, and that's why I'm even more honored to have you here today. We're gonna stream, we're gonna record, and we're gonna push that out to all our social media channels. And I say it one more time again, guys, if you're watching it, comments, likes, hearts, leave us all that, because we all appreciate you. In this case, Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thanks,
it was an honor to have you here.
We'll catch you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much.